Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Agent versus Lender. And I'm really excited to introduce Daryn Edmonds. He's a broker, a team leader in Salt Lake City. And, as I talked to him, I found out he was he was an investor, and then he became an agent. It seems like that's a natural progression. If you're an investor and then become an agent. And then shortly after that, he became his own broker and opened up his own business. So, hey, Daryn, thanks for coming on our show, and we're glad to have you here.
Hey, Ron, thank you for having me on the show. It's terrific to be here. It's like I'm in my home office, you're in your home office, so it's a good place to get it done from.
Actually, I'm not in my home office. I do have a home office, but this is just an office downtown. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all cool. But, my office is actually 3 minutes from my house, so it's kind of like my home office.
Nice.
So you told me you're a ski bum. So what do you? So tell us just real briefly a little bit more about how you got into business. And
yeah, I guess it's kind of unfair for me to call myself a ski bum anymore because real estate's been really good to me the last few years, and I guess I'm not as much of a bum as I used to be. But I moved to Utah from upstate New York just before the Olympics in 2002. And I wanted to be a pro skier, and I, tried really, really, really hard for about 11 years, and I just wasn't quite good enough. But I had a great time along the way. It was a blast. And I was lucky enough to buy a house in 2005 before the crash, and another in 2007, just during the crash, and kind of fill those up with ski bum buddies of mine. And that was the start of my investing. And then kind of decided, hey, I worked with a great agent. Maybe I could just do things just the way she does, and I'll follow her into the business. And that seems like a good career. And it's been about 11 years now in the business, and it's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, it seems like, if you've been in the business for 11 years, you've seen some changes. There have been a lot. So it sounds like you had a mentor.
I kind of did. I have a few really great mentors. My first mentor is now one of my biggest competitors. Now, we're a very friendly competition between her office and mine. My friend Tara Paris with Paris Real Estate. She's great. We have kind of similar sized teams, similar in a lot of ways. We still use the same title company.
Okay, awesome. So there's still some
great mentor.
I know you say tongue in cheek. You say she's your competition, but I can tell, and I know I could tell that it's just a friendly competition there. So it's
completely.
And I've noticed that the people that are doing well, even the people that are just not as doing as well. I've noticed that in the realtor side, it just seems to be really pretty friendly. You guys all hang out and do a lot of events, and so
yeah,
see that.
I think we're pretty fortunate in Utah anyway. I haven't sold real estate anywhere else, but all the stuff you see on TV about all the slimy agents and the agents mad at each other and a lot of that yelling and screaming. I have barely run into that in 11 years.
Me too.
Just people here tend to play by the rules. There's a few people that are not playing within the rules, and you kind of sniff them out and you try to avoid that and protect your clients from that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I've had very good experience with other agents here, and I can tell you that of the top 5 or 6 competitors that kind of play in the places I play, like I'm friends with all of them. That's awesome. It's kind of weird, but
no, it is. I think it's awesome, and I think it's because you guys can like collaborate and find out what's working and what's not working, and
yes.
You don't want to reinvent the wheel all the time. You go, man, that guy's killing it. What's he doing? And you guys can just talk it out and find out what you can and can't, what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you definitely can learn a lot from the other folks in the biz, and then you can share a lot too. And we talked a little bit earlier about the more you give, the more you get, and I think that's the case. If I share some of my secret sauce, then someone else shares some of their secret sauce, and we mix them both together, and then everybody does better. And there's plenty of work out there for all of us.
There is. So let's get into some of your secret sauce since you brought it up. So we had talked about the way you do business. You kind of you kind of have the old school mentality, but you also are embracing the tech.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me what that looks like.
Okay, that's a great question. I mean, right in our office, we have a whiteboard that I wrote on a couple of years ago with bad handwriting that's still up. This one quote that just says, yeah, it says, "New school tech, old school hustle." And that's something we just kind of came up with on our own. I followed for a long time Coach Tom Ferry, who, if you're a real estate agent listening to this, check out Tom Ferry's stuff. I like it. It's very motivational. He's a cool guy. And he's a lot about the new tech. Video. He's been talking about video for years. Video. That's like the thing. So I try to do as much video as possible. Our team communicates. We have a communication platform we use. I was all paper. I was paper, and then like DocuSign kind of got going. And now we use Dotloop. It's a great program, manages our transactions end to end. So we're pretty much paperless at this point. Fantastic communication with our clients and our team. And then using video, using Facebook ads, using Instagram ads, being on Instagram TV, like all these wild things that when I first heard about them, I was like, man, I'm never going to do that. We've slowly added those on. However, we didn't forget kind of where we came from. And that is, you got to hustle in this business. You can't be a salesperson that just plugs things into your computer and lets the computer do everything. You need to be able to get out, meet people, connect with people, listen to people, and do a good job for people. So that's the hustle part. Like, we answer our phones, we return phone calls. There's a lot of folks in the biz not really doing that right now. And it bothers me, of course, but it also makes me smile because I'm like, well, it'll be that much easier to win a client if they're interviewing me and they're interviewing that person. They're going to get me on the phone and they're going to like that. So yeah, that's the old school hustle. Make the extra call, go the extra mile. I was over today, actually, a couple hours ago. I gave keys to a buyer client of mine, and instead of just handing the keys and walking away like most people would do, I handed them the keys and taught them how to use their sprinkler system.
Oh, awesome.
Because why not? I know how. Like, why not share that information? I got an extra half an hour.
Yeah, totally.
So that's one of the things. And not, having some success is great, but don't think you're too big to help somebody learn your sprinkler system or help them go bring their garbage cans that were down the street back to their house. Like, why not be friends with every client and go the extra mile? So that's the blend. That's the blend that's been working for us.
That's cool. So I know that seems like a little thing, show them how to use their sprinkler system or what days the garbage comes. And it's not, I think it's oftentimes that those little things are what people remember. It's not like, oh man, they were great at showing the house. It's just like, you know what? This guy took some time at the end of the transaction to show me how to use my sprinkler systems. That's what people remember. You think it's a little thing, but it's not. It's really a big thing.
And it's actually the thing I enjoy the most because I know what it was like. I remember when I bought my first place, and I tell this story a lot. I'll give you the very abbreviated version, but I bought a house in 2005. I was clueless during the entire process, and I ended up getting a great house at a very fair price. So I have nothing to complain about, but I do remember that I was in the dark. My agent called me the day before closing and said, have a check for this much and come to this title company and I'll meet you there. And then as soon as we were done, I never heard from him again. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to keep my people informed. I'm going to communicate really well. I'm going to over communicate. They're going to know everything that's going on. And then I'm going to be around in the end. I almost always end up being good friends with all my clients. Even if they're folks we meet on the internet, we get a lot of folks that we meet through Zillow, other online sources. Google, we have a lot of great Google reviews. So people call and say, hey, I saw you on Google. I can't believe you answer your phone. And I'm like, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So, people, they see you see you on video, or they see you on the internet, or they see you whatever, and they go, oh, it's you? I thought I would have got your office, or, because I get that too. It's just like, oh, I'm talking to Ron?
You're talking to me.
Yeah, what can I help you with? Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Depending on the situation, and you may not get to talk to me every time all the way along. I have a great team. And if you're like, hey, I'm moving in from Texas and I need to see 45 houses next week, I'm probably going to have one of my buyer's agents get you out and show you 45 houses next week. but everybody on our team has been trained from the ground up on our same program that I developed. So we all do things the same. So
Right.
I definitely do answer the phone, but I can't promise you I might not be your guy, but I will be there in the background, always supporting, and I can always take a call with questions from anybody that's working with any of our team.
Yeah, but when your team is, just like my team, when my team and your team are excellent, it's just like you're gonna get through the process, and it's gonna be a great experience. And and it's not like I'm not gonna ever talk to you through the process, but you're gonna get through it, and you're gonna love it because everybody's trained the same way.
That's right.
Let's get into. You had mentioned a blend of tech, so tell me about some of your tech, because I know that people want to know what's some of the tech that you use and how you use it.
Yeah, so some of the tech that we've been using, especially successfully this year in 2020, with COVID and everything going on, it changed the game a bit. And I feel like we're kind of swinging a little bit back more towards the way things were before. We just got to wear masks and wash our hands a lot while we're showing homes. And I shouldn't be touching my nose, but I can't help it. It's itching. So some of the stuff we did, we had already started rolling this out in the last 2 years, but we're all in on this now. So all of our listings now, we do a 3D Matterport tour on all of them. And when I had first heard of this years ago, I thought that's ridiculous. It's expensive. Who cares? We don't need to do that. We started doing it last year, just before COVID, and dabbling. And then as soon as COVID hit, I said, automatic, we're always doing a Matterport tour now. So for anybody who hasn't seen them yet, they're super cool. When you're online, if you're looking on utahrealestate.com and you're looking at a listing, often there's a little tour button at the top. If there isn't, that means that listing agent didn't think it was worth investing some extra money in their listing. Just click the tour button and you get the Matterport. It's cool. It shows you this little dollhouse of the house, and then it drops you inside and you can walk around and look around. It's not exactly virtual reality, but it's like semi-virtual reality. You can see everything. And part of the reason we did that was because we weren't sure if people were going to be able to get out and look at homes. And we wanted them to be able to see everything inside our home. Then it kind of morphed into, actually, I don't really want 50 random people to come through my client's house. If they don't like the house, I don't want them to come. So let's let them look at the house really well on the internet, not just a few photos, really look around. And if they decide it's not for them, good, don't come. Because, the old school way was get as many people through the door as possible. And that's part of my listing presentation for 10 years. Get everyone through the door. And now it's get the right people through the door.
You know what? But you are getting as many people as you can through that door. You're just doing it virtually instead of in person.
That's a good point, Ron. You're right. There you go. Yeah. We also have been focusing on doing drone videos the last couple of years. We've noticed.
I actually saw that. I went to your site and I saw some of the drone videos. Those are cool.
They're really great. We've sampled around with a few different folks. I was doing drone photos probably 2-3 years before anybody else in Utah was really doing them. Because I had a buddy that had a drone. And I was like, this is cool. Let's do this. But what we found is we did a drone video as a test, and the amount of views it got was amazing. Like, people like drone videos. So we keep them short. People's attention span is short. But we found a crew that does a great job of building out the video. So it's entertaining. It's 60 seconds long. Sometimes we'll do a little video intro where myself or one of my teammates will intro the house for 10 or 15 seconds, and then bam, here's the video. Now, this is a little bit of sizzle because it's great to put on Facebook, Instagram TV. They're getting hundreds or thousands. If one of the girls is on the video, it usually gets thousands of views. I found that I'm not the most popular. I thought I was the coolest guy on the videos, but when I have one of the girls on the team, one of the ladies, way more people watch their videos. They want to hear what the ladies have to say. They don't care about what I have to say as much, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's all about the team for us. So those are two pieces that are integral now in our listing because we know that it gets more of the serious eyeballs on the home, and it also drives the competition a little. If you see a drone video of a house you really like, you're going to get down there quick, and you're not going to make us a crappy offer because everybody else is looking at that video too. Right. So you're going to make a strong offer right off the bat because you want to get that home before someone else does.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I thought those are actually pretty impressive. I love that. So
and it's worth the money to me to spend. We spend extra money. It's a give and get. You spend more, you get more. And folks are seeing our videos and they're calling and they're emailing and they're texting me saying, "Hey, can you sell my house?" Of course I can. This is what I do.
that's the cool thing about this. It's just not you're driving more buyers, but you're also driving more sellers because they see the difference between your marketing and other agents' marketing, and they go, I want this. You know,
And we,
if I'm going to pay that same price, I want this.
yeah, you don't pay any extra. I mean, I kind of, we work for our commission is what we say it is. We don't change it. You don't pay any extra for the photos. If I pay $500 for photos and we don't sell your house, that's my problem. I lose the $500. I'm willing to risk it. And it's worked out. We have not had a listing expire in the last 3 years. And in fact, I'm glad this came up. Just quick promo for us and how well this really works.
Do it.
We've had 4 listings in the last 2 years that had been listed with someone else and then expired. And I do not farm expired listings. I do not call expired listings. I never have in my career. They found us. However they found us, they called and said, "Hey, so someone couldn't sell our house last year or last month. We saw your stuff. Can you try?" And so 4 out of 4, we sold for full price in 2 weeks or less. A house that someone else couldn't sell at the same price a month earlier or a year earlier. Right now, I have one in Sugar House that was on the market for 90 days last summer and didn't sell. I don't know how that's possible. We did the drone video. We did the Matterport. We did an open house. I had 2 offers on the first day it was on the market, and we were under contract at full price on the 3rd day we were on the market. And that was for $25,000 more than it had been listed for 9 months ago. Same house.
So what do you attribute that to? Is that just because of your marketing? Can you pin it down to anything specific, or is it just like the package?
I think it's the whole package. I think there's a combination, and I think the hustle is important too, because
don't forget that part of it, because that is part of the package. You can't just go out. You and I talked a little bit before. It's not like, oh, let me go get a website. Oh, that's going to drive all my traffic. Or, oh, let me go hire some, let me go take some pictures. And, oh, it doesn't work that way. It's like the whole package, right?
It takes time. It takes time. And I've been a slow growth type person. There's definitely people that have jumped into business and gone huge, and good for them. I'm really happy for them. There's a part of me that's competitive. It's like, oh man, why didn't I do that? But yeah. I've been slow and steady, and it's been good. I've kind of developed during COVID. I've had a lot of time in the home office to think about things, and so our new my new sales pitch to listing pitch is much shorter now. I still have a presentation, but I shorten it up. The 3 P's I call it. So number 1, preparation. So I'll use that Sugar House home as an example. The previous time it was listed, the person just snapped some photos, threw a sign in the yard, put it on the MLS, and saw what happened. I spent 2 weeks with the clients, who are out of state, by the way. They live in Denver. So I had interviewed with them 3 times on Zoom to get their business. We spent 2 weeks cleaning the house, fixing the house. So I have a list of contractors that I've worked with for years where I can call them up and go, "Hey, can you get over and clean the windows? Hey, can you get over and clean the floors? Hey, can you get over and fix the doors that are broken?" So we spent 2 weeks. We got the house prepared first. That's the first P. Pricing's the second P. Even in the hot market right now, an overpriced listing is not going to do well. You might be able to sneak a little bit above and get lucky, but if you overprice dramatically, you're just not going to see a lot of action, and you're not going to get the home sold, even in the hot market. So pricing is important. And then the third P, and this is where the drone and the Matterport and everything come in, that's the presentation. You want to make sure you're everywhere. You've taken the time to make the home look good. You've taken the time to price it right to the best of your ability. Now you got to make sure everyone sees it and in the best light possible. So if you do those 3 things, you're going to have success. And even in a tough market, if you do those 3 things, I think you're going to really stand out. I got a buddy in Arkansas. He does things similar to us. Actually, his video productions are even way better than ours. They're ridiculous. He has a full-time video guy on staff. when Arkansas was dead 3 years ago, he was selling 100 houses a year. So like,
man, I'll tell you, if you're an agent and you're either listening to this or watching on YouTube, you need to rewind this, just this part right here.
thanks, Ron.
Because Daryn just gave you the recipe to success. It's just like, he just gave it to you. So if you didn't listen to this part of it, you've got to rewind this and listen to it again.
I don't mind giving it away, because something you had mentioned earlier, most people just aren't going to follow through and do it. Most people just won't. But if you do, you'll have great success as an agent. And I'd be happy to have you on my team if you're a hustler like that. Yeah. Because most people sign the listing agreement and they just, let's get it sold. I don't want anything to do with it. I've been to that house 7 or 8 times. I was at that house 6 times before we even listed it. I fixed their sprinkler system for them because I didn't want the grass to die. I said, it's 100 degrees. And they said, have your guy do it next week. And I said, there's not time to wait till next week. I'll go to Home Depot. I'll get it fixed. There's not a lot of listing brokers out there that are going to take an hour out of their day to fix a sprinkler system. But I know in the end, it's worth it, because if that grass is dead, that house isn't going to sell.
You know what? That's so true, because I sold a house once, and after it was under contract, I had to go out and fix the grass in the front yard.
Uh-huh.
So we dug it up a little bit, fixed it, and then, put everything back. And sure enough, the guy drove past the house like the next day and called the agent and said, what the heck, man? What happened to the grass? It's just like, I'm not going to buy a house that they have problems.
Oh man.
So we had to, sorry, my wife just walked by. She's walked by my office. I waved at her through the window. So so he calls the office, the agent, and said, what the heck? And so we just had to explain, look, it actually wasn't a problem. We thought it was a problem, but it was something else. It was like from the neighbor's house. We thought it was our sprinkling system.
Oh, really?
We had to dig it up to find it. But you're right, man. If it's not presentable, it's gonna, people are gonna notice. They're gonna take notice, and the offers probably aren't gonna come in for at least as high.
That's what our job is, to sell a house for as much as possible. So all the little things matter, right. And relationships matter. Tom Ferry always would say, who you work with matters. And I take that to heart. And I want to be someone that can be proud of how I do things, so that someone that I'm working with, one of my clients, will say, hey, I worked with this guy, and I was so happy at the end. I know I got the most money. I know I was informed the whole time. I want to tell my friends about this. And so referral business has been terrific for myself and for the whole team. It's really great to see some of my agents now. They're 3-4 years in the business. They're getting so much repeat business now, because they did things right too. There's no magic bullet. It's just like, do things right. And so one way that we do things right always is, when we meet a client, if we make a good connection and they want to work with us and we want to work with them, and I've told everybody on my team this, I decided this 10 years ago, right then I go, this person is my friend. And that's it. This person is my friend. What would you do for your friend? Well, for my friend, I'd fix a sprinkler system. I'd go the extra mile.
Right.
Because it's worth it in the end, not for the business, but because it's your friend, and that's what you do for your friend. Right. And that works out really well. And every once in a while, your friend doesn't treat you the way you wish they did, and it hurts really bad. But 95% of the time, 97% of the time, people realize that you're sincere, you're doing your thing, and they're honest with you, and they're good to you, and everybody wins. It's great.
So you had mentioned also some of the tech that you use is you're using social media. How are you using social media? Okay.
Well, for years, we were doing a lot of boosting our posts on Facebook to hyper targeted areas for listings, especially. Facebook has changed a lot of its advertising algorithms, and we can't do that anymore, which is too bad. We are still able to do some geographic ads. They're not as effective as they used to be. That's kind of a bummer. Instagram has been pretty cool. If you use Instagram TV to upload bigger videos, like the drone video, for instance, we're getting hundreds of views on there. It's usually going to be people that you're kind of spider web connected with, either a friend or a friend of a friend. But every place you can get the word out is always important for a listing. Other places, well, of course, if you look good on the MLS, that's the most important place. That's where all the agents are searching. That's where most of the serious buyers are searching. And if they're searching on other websites, their Zillows, Redfins, all these millions of other websites,
Yeah.
they're going to find.
You know what? If they're on the internet, you can't think that they're not going somewhere else. So somebody that says, oh, it's my lead, and I have an exclusive lead because it came to my website, I got news for you. It's not an exclusive lead because they're going somewhere else. So if you are engaging them, and if you have something different like drone videos and your other videos that you have, if you have something that keeps them there, they're going to keep coming back.
And I always looked at it that way. Like, you don't get a chance to talk to many people that are out there searching around on the internet. So maybe they see in a little video and they go, hey, I like the way that guy talks, or he seems honest, or he seems like he knows what he's doing. Hey, that's a great opportunity for you to make an impression on somebody. So I'm not taking credit for any of this. Like I either learned this from Tom Ferry or somebody I met at a conference. I just pieced together a bunch of great information from other people. And that's why I'm willing to share, because a lot of folks, maybe they're just going to take one or two things from me, and that might help improve their life or help improve the way they work for their clients. And
they should only take one or two pieces. So I'm going to give you a quick analogy. So if you're listening to this and you're getting a lot of good information from Daryn, don't try to do all of it. And my coach tells me that it's each thing that you decide to implement is a bridge, and you're trying to get from one side of the river to the other side of the river. So you're on one side and the money's on the other side. And as you are implementing something, you're building a bridge. And until you get that bridge completed, no money is going to flow back. So you have to complete it. And then once you get money flowing back to you on the other side, then you start building another bridge. The problem that most of us have, whether it's lenders or whether it's agents or almost any type of business, is they try to implement too many things and they don't complete that bridge. And then they say, oh, it didn't work. Well, it's not that it didn't work. It's just that you didn't finish it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I know I've been guilty of that in parts of my career, and I'm still guilty of it now. There's a million things I'd like to do. And sometimes I start 6 of them. If you start 6 of them at the same time, you probably won't achieve any of them.
You probably won't.
Where we've seen success, and for myself and for everyone else on the team, is kind of do one thing at a time, maybe 2, not more than 2. 1 or 2 things.
Unless you have help. If you have a team that can help build those bridges, then you can implement a few more, but I still would not implement very many. It's just like, just a couple, because you've got to focus on those and make sure that you're bringing money in. Otherwise, it's just a money pit.
It's true. And once you've implemented 1 or 2 and you've done them for a while, they just become part of you. Then it's not new. It's not hard. Then that's automatic. Then you start on 1 or 2 more. And I've messed this up so many times, but in the end, if you keep trying, you'll get it right. There's a million ways to do things in the real estate business. But there's some things that are certainly more effective for yourself and for your clients than others. And so that's what I spend my nights awake thinking about, how to do things like the best way possible. But you're wrong sometimes. You think this is going to work and it doesn't. So you have to be willing to adjust and be willing to say, well, that didn't work. I'll try something else.
Sure. So you had mentioned that before we started recording and before we went on the air, you had mentioned that you said it was really interesting that this is called agent versus lender, because it's not that we're trying to be against each other. And that's what I tell people. I know it says agent versus lender, but we're really not. We're really a team, and I've had agents that it seemed like, man, I have to tell them, man, we are a team. Why are you fighting me on this? And I know that you've had that same experience with lenders. It's just like, why are you fighting me on this? It's just like, dude, let's just get this thing done. So tell me a little bit about communication. And,
Yeah.
you've talked a little bit about how you communicate with your clients. So why is that communication important between your lender and between lender, title company, agent, everybody on the team?
To have everybody talking together is so important. I certainly have had some of those negative experiences, and then I've had a lot of great experiences. And I don't know why there is an adversarial relationship. Sometimes it develops over time, because during the weeks you're working together, you're always sending requests for information. You're not getting it. You make phone calls. You don't get phone calls back. To me, at that point, then it does get adversarial, because I'm calling the lender going, hey man, I love this client. I care about this client. And it really seems like you don't. And I need you to also, or we're not going to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
I usually don't say it that harshly, but that's what I feel inside. Usually I say something like, what do I need to do to help you, help me, and help the client? Because all I care about is getting to the finish line, So I try not to, I used to get more fired up when I was younger. Now I just try to what can we do?
Yeah, me too.
The key thing with communication is there's a lot of moving parts in the background that maybe the clients don't see. They don't really, I try to explain a bit about underwriting. I try to explain a bit about how the process is going to go. I let them know there's going to be a lot of paperwork you need to turn in. And the quicker you get it to the loan officer, the quicker that it gets reviewed, the quicker that we find out if there's more conditions, the less headaches we have at the end when it matters.
Yeah.
So I try to give that information. We do that right at our first buyer consult. We love to do a buyer consult before we go out and look at houses, so that buyers understand what's going on. And whether they're a first-time buyer or a 10th time buyer, we try to do at least a quick consult, even with a 10th time buyer, of like, hey, this is how we do it, and this is how you can expect us to do it. And we do spend a lot of time talking about there's a number of things in the process that can go wrong. A lot of them have to do with your loan. So we want to make sure we're working with someone good and we're in touch with them all the time. Because if a week or two goes by in the middle of a contract and you're not talking to your lender, that's 2 weeks we can't get back.
Right.
So
you know what? And 2 weeks in a contract, that's half the time.
Exactly.
It could, unless you're on an expedited time frame, or normally, I think normal contracts are probably 30-ish days. And
that's where we try to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some lenders are like, yeah, we can do it quicker. And sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. So I try not to overpromise, and I like to work with others that don't try to overpromise. Tell me you can do it in 30 days and then get it done in 26. That's cool. Tell me you can get it done in 17 days and then it's 26. 26 is pretty good, but you set the wrong expectation for the client. Maybe we ended up writing a contract that was overly aggressive, and now we're in a tough spot asking for an extension.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Here's a versus lender thing. Because I've had a number of lenders say, well, just get it on.
Come on, bring it on.
Just get us another week. And I'm like, I can ask for another week, but our earnest money is already hard. If the seller doesn't want to give us another week because they think we're jerking them around, they're going to take our $5,000 and they're going to sell it to one of the other 10 people that wants the home. And my client is going to lose the house they want because you didn't
$5,000
you said you could do. So I do. That's the one time when I get kind of, but 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. And
I bet it's less than 9 times out of 10. I don't think you have 10%. I'm making a generalization. Because
probably 1 out of 20, maybe. It's usually when somebody, and here, this is going to be a plug for great lenders like Ron, people that do communicate, people that are on top of their files. There's never a problem there. It's usually when someone's using internetbank.com, where they don't really have a lender that cares about their file. They're getting passed around an office. And when I need to call to ask, hey, what's going on? I don't even know who to call.
You can't.
That ends up being tricky. And so I think the $5 you might save using internetbank.com is a bad value for a client, because how many sleepless nights, how many sleepless nights are $5 worth, or even if it's 100 or 500, like if you're not sleeping, you think you're going to lose your dream house. That's not good. That's not good at all.
It's one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life, and you're going to leave it to, you're going to leave it to the dollar store people,
Right.
Mortgages. Are they a little bit less? Sometimes, but
not always.
I'm not going to name the name of the big giant out there that everybody knows. They're not always less. In fact, often they're a little bit more, but you have a lot more headache. So
yeah,
I think you're using the dollar store, that you're only using the dollar store service.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. I mean, it's the same on the agent side. There's definitely folks in town that do things for cheap. Mm-hmm. That's not the way I operate. I tell people right at our buyer meeting, sorry, my lady's calling me. Yeah. She's out showing houses. My lovely girlfriend Samantha's on our team. She's just crushing it too. So you get what you pay for, and I give 110% effort for every client. And for that, I do get paid 100% of my normal commission. I don't like to do discounts. I don't do them. And folks that do, good for them if that's their business model. But I don't think you're going to get the same level of service. And you're not going to get somebody that deeply cares about you, I don't think. Because they're just churning and burning. You're just a number. And to us, you're a friend. So
tell me, if you had to just give us one piece of advice, whether it's a piece of tech that you could not live without, or a piece of advice that is just like, this made a difference in my business, what would that be? On the spot here.
That's a good one, Ron. For my business, right now, I'd say.
I know. I totally. You did not expect that question.
No, that's a good one. It's a big one, so I don't want to screw it up. But I'm going to give maybe a little bit of a weird answer, maybe a two-part answer.
Okay.
Number one, on the tech, organization is so important. And I got to say that probably Google Drive is like my best friend right now.
I love Google Drive.
Man, mine was malfunctioning for a couple weeks, and I was like out of sorts. And I just figured it out last night. The problem was totally me. I screwed something up, but I fixed it. I feel so much better today knowing my Google Drive works, because it's where we share everything. Our whole team shares everything in there. We can all see each other's things. Our transaction coordinator is involved. She knows what's going on with everybody all the time. So Google Drive for me, and I think if you're a solo agent or if you're thinking about starting a team, like, I'm not the most tech guy in the world, but I can use Google Drive most of the time when I don't break it. Get a Google Drive or an iCloud account so that your stuff is out there and safe off your computer, because your computer might get stolen. And do you want all your files gone? Because that happened to me last year. Someone stole my computer, and you know what? I didn't even care. I bought a new computer and I was back up and running the next day like nothing ever happened. That was so cool. So Google Drive and organization. And then I'd say the other piece of advice that's non-tech, like the old school hustle piece, I think it's important to blend them.
Yes.
Is just over communicate all the time, and keep people informed, especially when there's bad news. Don't wait on that phone call. Call them and say, hey, there's bad news. And it's better if you can say, hey, there's bad news, and I've already thought about 6 ways to try to fix this. Right. Here's the 6 ways. Which ones do you want me to use? And people will love you forever because you told them what was going on, and when other people wouldn't have. So over communicate, and do that with every part of the transaction, with your lender, with your title company. I call my title company all the time. I hope they love me. They might be annoyed by me.
I'm sure they do.
And talk to your lenders. Call. Email's great, but now and then a call just to check in. Hey, is everything cool? Everything's cool? Great, man. I wasn't trying to mess with you. I just want to make sure everything was cool. Bam.
You know what? I get people that call me and say, I'm sorry if I call you again, Ron. It's just like, no, really, that's what I'm here for. Call me.
Yeah. Don't call and yell at me, because I don't like that. But let's talk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So those organizations are going to be key to everybody's success. That's like, maybe that's one of the first bridges you need to build. And then once you got your organization dialed, you're ready to expand. Because if you expand before you're organized, you're going to be a mess. You're going to drop the ball. You're going to get bad reviews. You don't want bad reviews.
Right. Daryn, this has been a pleasure, man. This is a great, you've given me some things to think about. So,
man, it's really fun talking with you, Ron. I hope that this is a podcast that people get value out of. And I hope I can go on to your show again sometime.
Yeah, awesome.
Chat again.
Tell us how to get hold of you, Daryn.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for giving me a plug time. So my company, we didn't talk about our little company. I own an independent brokerage, myself and 7 friends. It's called High Road Properties. So you can Google High Road Properties. You can check out our website at highroadutah.com. You can email me. I'm Daryn, Daryn, at highroadutah.com. My phone number is 801-599-8823, and that is my cell number. I will answer or call you back. That's everything. I don't know. We're on.
I'm assuming they can text you too.
You can text me too. I like text. Text is good. We're on Instagram. My Instagram is adventures-n-real-estate. Adventures in real estate. I love travel. I love climbing. I love biking. I love skiing, and I love real estate. So awesome. That's where we're at. We're also on Facebook, High Road Properties. Reach out, take a look at our website. Our whole team's on there. You can see who you like, give them a call. And we'd love to take care of anybody that ever comes our way. We do a lot of work actually for folks moving in and out of state. We're
cool.
Our reviews speak highly of us, and people find us online. And the next thing you know, we work for a lot of folks moving in from California, moving in from Texas, moving out, and out-of-state sellers are kind of a specialty of mine because of this contractor relationship I have. I can get your house fixed up. People trust me. They'll go fix your house, and you can pay them later because they know if you don't pay them, I will. So
that's actually pretty cool. It's probably not a lot of people that do that.
A lot of people panic about like, how do I get my house ready? I'm like, give me 10 minutes. I'll go over and look at it. I'll make a plan. I'll call you back. It can be that easy. So
that's cool.
I'm getting excited again. I can talk about that.
That's okay. I love it. So thanks for joining us for this episode of Agent versus Lender. You can get hold of myself or my team at 801-628-7667. Call us or text us, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Agent versus Lender.